I met a gypsy.
Did you just have like a change of thinking just about being like a human in general, as opposed to just like being a racer? Because the one thing with you that is like really striking is just like, you know how you were saying last night, like, you feel like the Aussie dudes don't have an ego. You literally don't have any like shred of an ego at all. And it's even like last night we were talking and the conversation we got into like, talking about Charles and people we knew, and Jay Wilson was there, and like he was in the combo, and you literally circled back to like make sure he was included back into the combo. Like that's the hallmark of a person that with like a lot more going on than just like one-dimensional race. Like that's really thinking about other people, and you're in these, you know, social circumstances. Like that's not something that is common for a guy at your level, I don't think.
Yeah, I think just because I've lived it with an ego, and it doesn't work. Like,
so there was a point that you did.
I think so. I think there's some truth in to be at the highest level, you kind of have to have some sort of an ego. Mm-hmm. But you can detach from that, and I don't think most people can detach from that. Because trust me, when I line up, I call it ego, call it confidence, call it cocky. I don't know what the word is for it, but I don't want to lose. Like I'm just as competitive as the next guy. But detach from that. Like you don't have to act like that away from the track. Like when your helmet's on, okay, act a certain way and do a certain thing. But that has changed in me, I would say.
When do you reckon that was? Or like when did you even become aware of it?
I would say 2010 when I first signed with JGR. I met a guy kind of in and amongst some friends in North Carolina. A guy named Ryan Kelly who still helps me today. We're business partners in a few different things. And he really just kind of made me aware of kind of how I was acting, and also actually Steve Hudson, he was the chaplain for Supercross and motocross at the time. Yeah. He would come to the JGR shop every Monday, and so between those two guys, and I knew I had some sort of, call it an issue or whatever, but I think it was just how I was raised, and we've all got our stories, right? So it just got to be deeper for me, and I got to look at, you know, certain things, and I was a pretty, I wouldn't call it negative, but I was self-centered. I had kind of a negative attitude, and I was so, just like we said earlier, just so focused on that one thing and that one result. Like, man, take a look around. Like, you've got an amazing life. Yeah. And I think if you focused on how amazing your life really is, you might actually do better at the race. Yeah. Rather than be so just stressed all the time. And then of course I met my wife Paige, and then you have kids, and I started to read a lot, started to read books on psychology and why I'm acting certain ways, and the childhood kind of reflects on the way you were raised, and just everything. Started to take a deeper look into myself. And because there was days, like I said, when I'm so focused on that result and you had bad results, I hated the way I felt. I didn't know how to get out of it though. I really didn't. I didn't know how that 8th place, how am I not miserable? Like how when I get on the plane the next morning, how am I not miserable from Sunday to the next time I line up on Saturday? Because I knew I didn't like that. And then, so things just started to change since then. It's a lot of work, to be honest. I mean, it is a lot of work, but gosh, it's so worth it when you can just be a little more free. Yeah. And there's times when I still get stressed, and I've got a family to support now. I want to make them proud. I want to make them happy, but I also know that it doesn't matter if I win the race or get 12th or if I don't race at all. That's what's cool is the people I have around me now. They just want me to be happy, and that was kind of what I set out to do with Ryan and
so what does he do? Like, does he have any background in that?
Yeah, he has a psychology background.
Yeah, okay.
But he's just kind of a life coach, kind of I know people laugh at that term, but I actually think it's really important to have, or a mentor or life coach, whatever you call it.
Mentors are definitely, yeah.
So yeah, he definitely taught me a lot. And there was times when I would fight back like, man, I'm not doing that. Like it's
hokey and weird.
Yeah. But none of it's weird. Like all of it was just, it's such basic stuff. Like we actually talked about that on the way over this morning, is when you start to search and look for like just crazy weird stuff to make you happy, or even on the motorcycle, like, or the training side of it.
Yeah.
Like I see some people do just some crazy weird stuff that, man, you're just searching, because almost always the basics, the basics of life, the basics of relationships, the basics of riding a dirt bike, it's usually what works. And you hear a lot of people say, oh man, I just got back to the basics. Well, why were you out in left field searching in the first place, you know? So I think it's always good to have a mentor or some friends that you can kind of bounce different ideas off of, or people that can see life through a little bit different lens than you're looking through. Cause we can get caught up in it. And, my wife's helped a ton. We can really separate racing now. She doesn't, not saying she doesn't care. She obviously cares about my racing, but she doesn't care. You know what I mean?
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.